Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Payback 2015, and typically I might actually go into the pre-show a little bit, but the pre-show was kind of okay. You had a continuation of the Stardust R-Truth storyline with an obviously with R-Truth and Stardust match itself in there. Relatively good match, nothing spectacular to write home about. And then you had the quote-unquote mega powers, Macho Mandow and Curtis Axel, or Axelmania, going up against the Ascension. Relatively quick match. Interesting that they had seemed to be burying the Ascension so much. It was interesting that they would actually have them go out as winners in this case. Maybe they're going to attempt to continue on building them, or maybe they're going to put them in the Elimination Chamber match. Who knows where they're going to go? And I'll talk about that here in a little while as well. Starting off the show with Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus was a relatively good idea, at least in my own personal opinion. They always put on a good match. This is a good crowd warmer. No title on the line, no this. Just kind of a grudge match we get to continue on the show. Or not continue on, but start off the actual pay-per-view event itself. The match between the two of them was well-timed, well-paced. Basically what you would think between these two. They put on some great matches in the past, and they did a really good job again here. Interesting spot at the end where Dolph Ziggler did the headbutt to Sheamus and actually busted himself open. I don't know if they were actually considering continuing on and having a much longer match than what they did. But they did go quickly to the finish afterwards there, and he did bust himself open pretty good inside of that spot. So who knows if that was actually the main game plan, where he actually gets injured through there and just happens to get busted open. But and then they end the match like that, or they just ended the match right afterwards for the purposes of ending the match. So we'll definitely see how they go about maybe continuing on with this storyline. You also had the spot in there where he kind of gets retribution from the month before, where he forces Sheamus to kiss his backside on that one versus what happened at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So I felt a relatively good opener, fairly entertaining, and just kind of what you expect from the two of them at this point in time. They've kind of worked together enough to where it's not necessarily getting old, but you've seen it before. So relatively good match from the two of them, and we'll see if they continue on with that feud, or see where they actually decide to go along with that here in the very near future. Next, you had the New Day versus Kid and Cesaro, and this was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I liked the pacing of this match. Each fall did not seem like didn't seem to be like a waste in any way. You had the first fall; it lasted relatively long for both sides. Same with the second fall. I liked at the beginning of the second fall how Xavier Woods was trying to get into the match using the Freebird rule. That was a nice little touch that they threw in there. Obviously, the referee wasn't going to allow that at that point in time. The aspect, but like I said, I like that aspect for the second fall, where they had the first fall, Kid and Cesaro won the match, and then, like I said, where you had Xavier Woods trying to get in there with the Freebird rule to no avail. Obviously, Kofi and Big E end out winning the second fall in there, and again, relatively well timed and well paced everything, with the exception of the actual finish, which was poorly timed by them. That finisher that they have, where he does where Big E does the big ending, and it looks like Kofi's trying to do like a DDT that puts some extra oomph into it. It's a very weird looking finisher. It doesn't come off all that good, at least in my own personal opinion, especially tonight. It was just mistimed by Kofi and Big E in that case. The third fall, again, really well done. I liked how they did it, how they continued on with everything. And again, like I said, they didn't really make it feel like any of these falls were really a waste. You've seen so many 2 out of 3 falls where, oh, one guy gets the advantage and then immediately they'll lose the advantage by getting pinned themselves, like within a few minutes. So overall, the match itself, obviously they were going to have the New Day go out on top here. They've definitely been progressing as a heel team, and it's been far more enjoyable to see them where they've been doing their more heelish type shtick and making it feel like, oh, they're trying to progress positivity out there while still insulting everybody around them. So they definitely they're doing a relatively good job there. I like the ending to the match where Xavier Woods does sneak in and then sneaks right out after getting the pin, where the referee doesn't even bother looking to see who was actually getting the pin at that point in time. I ended out liking that spot. It leaves a little bit of room for where they're gonna go with that, if they're going to continue on with Kid and Cesaro and the New Day as the main feud for the tag team division, or see where they're going to actually go with that here in the very near future. I like the segment backstage where they're trying to talk. Not really trying to talk, but they're talking up everything and like how they're supposed to be good role models. They don't spit and they don't curse and everything like that. And then the interviewer makes mention, it's like, oh, your tag titles are all going to be in the line in the Elimination Chamber match, and then immediately Big E spits and Xavier Woods curses. It was a relatively well done interview backstage. I thought that was all really well done by all of them here in this case. So overall, I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the backstage segment later. So yeah, I'm actually enjoying the heel New Day at this point in time, and that's not a bad thing for this. It's actually relatively good to go. They do what they need to do. They get people to boo them, and they get them to chant "New Day sucks," and that's all they need to do at this point in time. So hopefully they can continue. Hopefully they'll continue on with that, and they'll continue on with Kid and Cesaro as the main storyline for the New Day for the time being, and see how they're going to do everything with the Elimination Chamber match as well, with the tag titles on the line. Next match was Bray Wyatt and Ryback. This was a really good match. I said it back when the feud started. I felt like, I didn't exactly know why, but I felt like this feud was going to be good, and it was going to be fun to watch. And I liked the dynamic that they put in there, where they made it feel like, Bray Wyatt injured Ryback's ribs, and he continued working it over the entire time. I liked how Ryback, still was trying to go for his power moves, but in some cases couldn't do it, or couldn't take advantage when he did get it. They timed this match out really well, and I liked how everything came off throughout the entire match. I actually liked the ending where Bray Wyatt knocks him into the top turnbuckle with the injured ribs, and then hits him with the Sister Abigail to win it. I really liked, like I said, I really liked where they went with this match in general. It came off really well, and I'm hoping they continue on with it here in the very near future with both of them. I don't think they need to be going in a different route with them yet. They can make this storyline continue on, even though you had a definitive winner in this one. You can continue on with this storyline. Hopefully, that's going to be the case here in the very near future for both of them. I liked this match. I was liking the feud going in. I liked the promos that they had, and I'm hoping they can continue on with that here with maybe another match or two down the road here. This leads me to the I Quit match with John Cena and Rusev. I actually, I don't think I can say anything bad about this match. There's times that I want to. There's times that I want to be like almost everyone else, and it's like, oh, Cena's stale, this, and this. And I was kind of expecting that with this match, and it looked like that way initially as well. So many times in the I Quit matches, John Cena gets beaten up for the entire match, just like all in a lot of his other matches. And then within 2 minutes, he wins the match, especially in an I Quit match. And it doesn't come off all that good. This match he had with Rusev for I Quit was really well done. Like, you had that initial spot where, okay, Cena's being dominated throughout the entire match, and it's obviously Rusev's in control. But once they had Cena in control, it wasn't like, okay, now it's over in 2 minutes. No, he gains control, then he loses it back, then he gains it again, and then he loses it back. They had this good back and forth from the middle of the match to the end of the match itself. And it just came, like, the spots that they came off with were really well done. I liked the ending where you have Cena, using the rope to apply more pressure for the STF. Obviously with the way they do things now, he couldn't do the rope around the neck like he did with Umaga back in the Last Man Standing match years ago, but it still came off with the same effectiveness. I even like the ending where instead of him actually, Rusev uttering the words in English, he's doing something in native tongue, and you have Lana saying she's translating for him and saying he quits and everything like that. I liked that ending right there, because if they want to, obviously this leaves it wide open for Lana to become a face and those two splitting off, which is seemingly like they're going to be doing here. But it also leaves room, if they want to have one more match with the two of them, they can actually do that. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like this storyline almost from beginning to end right now. This is pretty much the final chapter of it for the time being, but you leave that open there for another match if they so wish. And I thoroughly enjoyed this match. Really well done. This, like I was saying as well, for the first 4 matches in general, really good matches, really fun to watch, entertaining, well timed. Everything was well done. And now we go to the second half of the show. Nikki and Brie Bella's match with Naomi and Tamina wasn't horrible. It wasn't good by any stretch. It was kind of just a ho-hum tag team match in there. Just another way of continuing on the storyline between Nikki and Naomi at this point. Nothing really special to say about. Good to see that they decided to have Naomi go out and gain the momentum here, but nothing really far to write home about between the 4 of them in this match. So kind of a humdrum match after the 4 really good matches beforehand. The match with King Barrett, or Bad News Barrett, and Neville was unfortunately a big letdown. I did not like how they did this match. I guess just when it comes towards pay-per-views, I don't like it when they decide, oh, this is just another storyline, continuing storyline builder. And they don't want to at least end the match with some kind of definitive winner. I mean, at least with the tag team match beforehand, even though it was still kind of just storyline filler for them and building more of it, at least you had a definitive winner in the match. In this one, you just have Neville winning by countout, and then they continue the brawl afterwards where he hits the red arrow. You kind of wish they would have had some kind of definitive winner there, especially these two have been having a fair amount of matches recently. They could have kind of ended the feud here between the two of them and had them progress on, maybe with the Intercontinental title stuff or anything like that. And that will be talked about in a later video as well. But this match was kind of a letdown, which is kind of sad because I like both of these guys. I like Bad News Barrett, I like Neville, and it's kind of sucks that they had kind of a humdrum match and in every way, shape, or form here. This leads to the Fatal 4-Way match, which was obviously for the WWE World Heavyweight title. You had Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton. Obviously, they had Kane and J&J Security there. At least you had your interference out there already. The match itself I didn't really like it because they built up this entire time where Kane is he with Seth Rollins or is he without Seth Rollins, and they didn't really play that up in this match at all. They played it up throughout the night in some of the segments where it's like, oh, Kane is still undecided or everything in that sense, but you didn't get that sense during the match because once the interference started with Kane, it was pretty clear the entire time. It's like, okay, now he's going to be with the Authority. They didn't continue to try to play it up a little bit more, where maybe he decides not to interfere in the match. No, it's like as soon as Seth Rollins gets in actual trouble, Kane jumps in there. So that kind of put a damper on that. Put a damper on the match. You didn't really get any more tension between them at that point in time. There were some really cool moments in there. I actually liked the moment where they do the triple powerbomb to Randy, and it's, you kind of get the whole Shield vibe again between the three of them. But I also like how they turn right away. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns kind of turn right away on Seth Rollins and then take him out as well. So that was a relatively cool moment in the match. The ending of the match, again, kind of just ho-hum, and it's like kind of just ho-hum and what you kind of was expecting as well. I did like the aspect that Seth Rollins used the pedigree to win the match. Maybe he's going to inherit that move. I don't know, especially since they took the curb stomp away from him at this point in time, and probably will never let him use it again. So he does need a new finisher, and maybe the pedigree is going to be the one for that. I don't know, especially since you have Triple H still wrestling like once a year. So it's kind of weird that two people are going to necessarily have that finisher. So, like I said, I didn't really like this main event. Even though you had a couple really cool moments, and I like the aspect that you have the newer guys in the main event, like all three members of the Shield were there. Like I said, there were some really cool moments to the match, but the tension kind of got taken away right off the bat. The whole tension, the tension between Kane and Seth Rollins got thrown out the window right away, and that was one of the main aspects to the match there. They had already well established everybody, the whole every man for themselves portion of it. So I wish they would have played that up a little bit more before Kane does eventually, side with Seth Rollins in there. So overall, good first half of the show. I'll go off and say that. I thought the first four matches were really good. The last three matches were kind of ho-hum, kind of meh, not all that great. And like I said, especially with that Fatal 4, I wish it would have been a lot better than what it ended up being. But it is what it is in that case, and we'll see where they go on with this and who they'll have feud with Seth Rollins next. And we'll see where everything goes. And that is my review for WWE Payback, and I thank you guys for watching.